TRIP as an organization is supported by a coalition of transportation organizations. They support us to promote transportation by packaging and putting together all the information on the condition of the system to help the public understand what's happening with their transportation system. Unfortunately, as you'll hear, what the report is finding in Washington State is that the state is facing increasingly an infrastructure deficit as the state struggles to maintain its key roads and bridges, and also as local governments also face the challenge of maintaining that system and also keeping that system safe and also making sure that it's efficient in terms of its ability to move freight and people so that it supports economic growth and also a high quality of life here in Washington. The report found that 34% of urban roadways in Washington, and those are roads that are maintained by local and state governments, are currently in poor condition, and 22% of rural roads are in poor condition. And the state has recently said that they face a significant shortfall in the cost of repairing and preserving their major roads and highways across the state. Currently, 10% of state-maintained roads and highways are either in need of resurfacing or reconstruction, but the state now is predicting that within 10 years, that number increases to 41%. So the state's recognizing they have a significant shortfall in needed funding to maintain pavements. In fact, they estimate they need $2.8 billion over the next 10 years, and they only have $1.8 billion available. The report also took a look at bridge conditions in the state, and while the overall share of bridges that are structurally deficient in the state at 5% is lower than the national average, what is a cause for concern is the state, which manages the most significant and most heavily traveled bridges in the state, says that currently 137 of their major bridges are structurally deficient, but they expect that within 5 years that number is going to go up to 176. They literally are managing bridges that they know are structurally deficient, that need additional work to bring them back into good condition, but the funding's not there, and they anticipate a number of bridges, as listed in our report, by within 5 years will be structurally deficient. So that's a big concern. I know it's being discussed here in the legislature in Washington is this growing sense that the state is falling behind on preserving its major roads and highways, roads and bridges, excuse me. We also took a look at transportation safety. As we noted in the report, the overall traffic fatality rate in Washington is lower than it is nationally in terms of the national average. But the report also points out that the traffic fatality rate on rural roads in Washington is approximately 3.5 times higher than on all other roads. We've seen a number of states, including Texas, recently establish programs to systematically improve roadway safety on rural roads, making sure rural have rumble strips, they have paved shoulders when they're appropriate, really cost-effective improvements. And we've seen a significant reduction in those states in traffic fatalities. And we would hope, certainly here in Washington State, as the state moves forward, it puts in place those types of programs to make the types of improvements that are going to be critical to continue to support and improve traffic safety in the state. And then finally, we looked at economic development. Washington has one of the fastest growing economies in the country. Since 1990, in real dollars, where adjusted for inflation, the state's economy has nearly doubled. That's a tremendous track record of economic growth. But as we point out in the report, a state's economy is very much tied in with the health of its transportation system. And we reference a new report out of Oregon, a state that similarly is anticipating to see road and bridges deteriorating over the next 20 years unless additional funding's found. They took a look at the economic consequences of this growing and increasing deterioration of the roads and bridges, and found that over the next 20 years, if they allow that to happen, they'll lose $9.4 billion in economic growth, and the state will create 100,000 fewer jobs as a deteriorating infrastructure starts to be less efficient, less productive, and impact the ability of the state to create jobs. They took a look at what it would cost to avoid those problems in terms of the additional investment in roads and bridges, and found that for every dollar they would need to invest, they would save $12 in potential economic loss. Essentially, the cost benefit of investing in a state's transportation system is around 12 to 1. And we suspect that here in Washington, the state faces similar equations. The report also took a look at some of the most needed transportation projects across the region, and we noticed that one of them, the I-82 West Richland Red Mountain interchange improvement, is one of the projects that the state is listing as one of its most needed projects. I know there's several other in this region, and clearly, if the state is able to move forward with a number of these projects, it will be of great benefit here to the state's economy. There was a recent national report that looked at what happens when highways and intermodal facilities are expanded, and what they found is, well, certainly the initial help to the economy is, of course, it creates a lot of jobs in the construction and engineering sectors, but more critically, once those projects are done, it creates a lot more productivity in a region, and that generates future jobs. They estimate every $1 million spent expanding a transportation system results in 7 additional local long-term jobs and 4 more outside of the region. So there's a tremendous long-term benefit in making those improvements. And finally, in conclusion, in addition to the state funding for the system, and I recognize that the state legislature currently is taking a close look at that, the federal program, which provides highway and transit money to the state, is currently expiring on May 31st. And it's absolutely critical that Congress get to work and put in place a long-term, well-funded transportation program, which will be very helpful to the development of the transportation system here in Washington and here in this area.
For a number of years now, the transportation position paper within the Legislative Council has been a priority position. We've long recognized in our local economy and community the critical need for investing in our transportation, and accompanying with that investment is meaningful reforms. And so we've basically had 4 projects is critical needs in our local economy and in our transportation investment, along with meaningful reforms. And I'm going to quickly cover the 4 of those projects that we detailed. So as Rocky pointed out, all of these projects come with some extreme long-term benefits, and we'll just point out just a couple of facts for each one just to kind of highlight some of the benefits. So in Kennewick, there's a project, US 395 and Ridgeline. When that project is completed, it'll accompany by over 4,000 new full-time jobs, as well as over 1,000 hospital-related jobs. In Pasco, we have the Lewis Street Overpass, which will create 900 full-time jobs, as well as $33 million in employment estimated to be generated from that project, as well as improve the safety of the rail line that is an absolutely critical part of the Northwest Freight Corridor. In Richland, right here where we're standing, is almost on top of the Dupertail Bridge project, which it will, in the first decade alone, estimated to generate more than $60 million in sales and property tax revenue for the state through that private investment, and that is valued at $310 million for the Queensgate and the downtown Richland area alone. And then in West Richland, Red Mountain I-82 interchange, which Rocky mentioned is a priority within the state, but also a priority within our area. And that, in a 20-year look at that project, it's estimated to generate $900 million in economic stimulus. And so combined, all 4 of those projects is going to bring well over $1 billion in economic stimulus into our economy. So absolutely critical that we get these projects, and really that we get all these projects. And so we can argue for each one of these projects individually, and they all hold merit all amongst themselves. But our area since 2004 has been a very generous contributor to state revenue, to the tune of about, for every dollar this area, Benton Franklin County contributes in transportation funds, we receive back about 60 cents on that dollar. So these 4 projects, if all 4 of them are funded, will kind of equal out that playing field a little bit, and so we're encouraged that will hopefully happen. So I want to end with saying that the Legislative Council and the local community has been working hard with our legislature and the governor and local businesses to promote the investing into our transportation, and encourage the fact that the Senate transportation proposal included all of these 4 local projects as well as other regional projects, Highway 12 towards Walla Walla, a number of projects in towards Yakima, which are critical as well. And I wanted to thank our local senators, particularly Senator Brown, Senator Hewitt, Schessler, and even Senator King up in Yakima for their leadership in this. And I know all of our local House representatives are working just as hard as it's being negotiated between the House and the Senate right now.
I had a lot of prepared things. I also came prepared. I did initially with paperwork and lots of stats and numbers, but I realized after doing this this is 3 or 4 years now that the Public Works Director for the city and myself have put a lot of time and effort into getting those 4 projects that were listed, 4 or 5 projects, there's a couple with the Highway 12 out there, to get those put on the package. And when the Senate package went through, it was a mild celebration for us that have been working hard on it. My take today, I knew everybody would have some stats and some numbers, and we've been throwing those numbers around. My take today will be not as city councilman, but a general manager of a local company. And that company, we have 80 to 90 employees, depending on the season, over 50 vehicles on the road. So I thought about that as I was driving out here. What exactly is that impact, not just for me as a business manager, but the citizens? If you're looking at asking people to pay more per gallon, which is what it comes down to, and that's where some of the issue has been, is what's fair and what's right. And when you look at the roads and the basic building blocks of a community, the necessities of what it takes to be successful and to move forward, you need to have the roads. The roads are the very basic of everything that you have going on, along with electricity. And the roads get it done on every single level. Our fuel bills per month are average around $20,000, and that's so when that's as our company. We're a mid-sized company, and that's been the hang-up with some people. Is, what's my fair share? Look at what it's going to do to my fuel bills. These roads that is a justifiable expense on any level, and that's some taxes are just worth paying, and that is definitely one of them. So as a business manager, somebody who has that number of fleets and that number of cost, that is a cost worth taking on, because it's so necessary for the stability of the economy in our region and what we've seen and what these projects mean. Not just the maintenance and repairs that are needed, but the new projects that are coming. These things are going to bring in all the development and all the money that's been brought up already. And it's also going to enhance what's already here. These projects are not necessarily the if you build it, they will come type of approach. It is here. The economic growth is here. We have a lot of big things happening in our community. The Southridge area, Pasco is just blowing up. The Wine Science Center in Richland, all these big things that are happening. Now is the time to make this happen. And this is, for what it does for business, for what it does for me to be able to get to my customers to get to me, for the average citizen to get to school, to get to the supermarket, for the trucks to bring the product in. It's every single day. It's one of these things that we don't think about enough. We just take it for granted. It's there. It's always going to be there. It's always been there. We built it. The people built it. We build the houses. The roads need to go in. The businesses come. The businesses are here. Southridge, Pasco, Wallula, Walla Walla, up to Yakima. What the Red Mountain Interchange is going to do, it's already happening and booming, and now is the time that we put in the effort, put in the extra funds to make everything else just come together and explode. And the number of people that get put to work, the number of new businesses will start up, it's a definite benefit for the community. And as a representative for my business, and I know I'm not alone on this, I've talked with a lot of other business owners, this is something that is very worth fighting for. So I strongly encourage and want to push the House to put a good package together so that people can take ownership in and keep the progress moving forward. Thank you.
The Columbia Basin is noted as one of the premier bread baskets in the world. When I look for sustainable growing areas throughout the world, I require a number of criteria, and I require some things. One is that they have fertile soil, they have ample and abundant water supply, and that they have a valuable and a developed infrastructure within that area. The Columbia Basin in eastern Washington provides all of those things, plus a climate that fosters the growth of many, many, many food products. Washington is a leader in the production of many food products. The world population can look to us in the Columbia Basin for affordable, good quality food. Now, with all of those positive things that sets us apart from other growing areas in the world, one significant challenge exists as we strive to meet the needs of the world. And we strive to offset that challenge every day. That challenge that we incur is that we're far away from the major markets. Whether it be the exporting of food through the West Coast ports, or the transportation by rail or truck to the eastern United States. The Columbia Basin and Washington farms needs an efficient, affordable transportation route. Now, it should be remembered that efficient transportation routes include both rural county and state roads and long-distance interstate highways. I encourage the state and federal transportation leaders to effectively prioritize and manage transportation funds, to make food for the hungry world a priority, and that we might get that food to the people that need it. Now, years ago, I remember a scenario wherein the old Soviet Union, they produced enough grain in their growing areas to feed their country. But because that grain could not be transported in a timely fashion to the urban areas, they ended up having to import food to their country. I hope that Washington agriculture will not incur problems as we saw in this past year. Washington agriculture suffered this past year because of the slowness of exports out of our West Coast ports. Transportation infrastructure and efficient shipping schedules will help ensure that the needed food will get to a hungry world. The world is a safer place when hungry people can obtain the good food that we here in the Columbia Basin produce. Thank you.